namin itong kantang to para sa lahat ng Pilipino. Tayo na po't magkaisa at magtulungan para malagpasan po natin ang pagsubok na ito. Stay home. Tara, sabay-sabay nating awitin.
Radio Philippines Network Incorporated, DXKO. 13.68 sa dial sa inyong radyo. RPM DXKO, ang Radyo Ronda dili sa Dakbayan sa Cagayan de Oro. Sidyahan na may galaon sa katawhan, andam mo serbisyo sa tanan. Ang RPM DXKO Radyo Ronda, sakop sa KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Are you a Filipino living in Middle East, Europe, Asia and the Pacific, USA or Canada? You are our story. You are our Filipinos world. The Filipinos World Saturday every 4 to 5 p.m. only here on RPN DXKO 1360.
Good afternoon, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and to the Filipinos across the globe. You are watching live here in the Filipinos world. We are broadcasting live from Cagayan de Oro City, Philippines, powered by RPN DXKO Teleradio. RPN is an affiliate station of CNN Philippines. We are also live streaming in Facebook via facebook.com/RPN Cagayan de Oro 1368. And today is August 14, 2021, and we are celebrating the Vigil of the Assumption, which is a public holiday in the Vatican City each year. It precedes the Feast of the Assumption on August 15, which is tomorrow, an important event in the calendar of the Roman Catholic Church.
It was a tradition to observe a vigil on the evening before key feast days. Regarded as the principal feast day of the Virgin Mother, Assumption commemorates the belief that when Mary, the mother of Jesus, died, her body was not subjected to the usual process of physical decay, but was assumed into heaven and reunited there with her soul. Like the Immaculate Conception, the Assumption wasn't always an official dogma of the Roman Catholic Church. In fact, it was only ruled as such in 1950 by Pope Pius XII.
So advance happy feast day of the Assumption for tomorrow, August 15, 2021, and greetings to the associate missionaries of the Assumption, volunteers and alumni across the globe, and to the religious of the Assumption. Hi Pia, good afternoon and welcome back once again here in the Filipinos world.
Good afternoon, Ate Agnes. Good afternoon, everyone. The Filipinos world, good afternoon. This afternoon, the Filipinos world talk about not the ascending into heaven, but connecting the heaven for a renewed self. A healed one with our episode, The Power of Healing Inner Self. The Filipinos world is so privileged to be graced by two beautiful women who are successful in their own right. Miss Ditta Sandico, famously known as the country's premier rap artist, Miss Ditta Sandico launches an art exhibition that showcases her transformative journey to empowerment through indigenous fabrics. Miss Julie Ang, a fashion guru, spiritual healer, and yogist, and owner of Bettina Boutique studio based in Limket Kai Center, Cagayan de Oro City. Miss Ang is a facilitator, teacher of the art of living here in the Philippines. And of course, we have with us a special guest, co-host live from Auckland, New Zealand, Miss AISHA Ronquillo. Good afternoon, good evening, AISHA, and welcome to the Filipinos world.
Thank you, Pia. Good evening from Auckland, New Zealand to the Filipinos world. So my name is AISHA. I'm a photojournalist based here in Auckland, New Zealand. So hi, bawat sa atin nasasaktan, bawat sa atin may hinanakit, pero paano natin hapuin maghilamang sugat? Paano ba natin makalimutan ang sakit upang tanawin itong isang lamang nakaraan na naging bahid sa ating buhay? Kasalukuyan, nabibilang ang mga taong nagbabahagi ng kanilang masamang bangungot sa nakaraan. Ito man ay kahihiyan sa pagkasulat sa buhay na di naman dapat kutrain ng buhay. Subalit, tingin at bigyan ng pag-unawa na ang bahaging yon ay isang.
Totoo yan, Miss AISHA. The woundedness that we all experience should not let us be a victim of shaming, as it is a psychological terrorism. Rather, the society should embrace it with an open heart and mind that every being is vulnerable to being wounded. And when a person speaks on the experience, that same courage and that same pain of vulnerability should be accepted, not throwing a stone and labeling the person as a sinner, but rather citing that sinful act is a mistake to be learned of.
So according to Bell Hooks on her book All About Love, New Vision, she mentioned that addressing woundedness is not about blaming others. However, it does allow individuals to have been and are hurt to insist on accountability and responsibility, both from themselves and from those who are agents of their suffering, as well as those who bore witness. So constructive aids the healing. So how to heal? How do we make ourselves with a renewed soul? So more of this when we come back with our guests. So please stay tuned with us. We will be right back.
Modal manufactures a highly distinctive and exclusive range of interior solutions that combines functional excellence with design appeal. Solutions with integrated, innovative, ergonomic features to well-designed workplaces. Our company is based on the inherent values that shape the core of who we are. It is through our living values that we continue to fulfill the promise of our ideal and environmental design standards. Each and every groundbreaking product we've introduced over the years has been the result of our team's hard work and dedication to provide our absolute best to who we care most about, who is our customers. Whether the job is big or small, our team is used to solving complicated tasks and makes sure to get projects to successful completion. Whether it is local or global. This is why Labmodal is known as one of Europe's leading manufacturers of innovative system solutions for devices used in laboratory facilities, hospitals, and educational facilities. Solutions that can be easily adapted to the growing needs and workflows demands of the future. Labmodal, designing safe.
Welcome back to Boracay, the peaceful oasis where lasting memories are weaved. As the Philippines slowly reopens with care, the island paradise is now ready to welcome more local travelers. The Better Boracay. Indulge in the new, clean, and safe haven. With strict health and safety protocols in place, you can leave your worries behind. Where only certified establishments operate to let you stay, dine, and play with a peace of mind. Experience hospitality with the utmost consideration and care. Spend quality time relaxing on the world-famous white beaches. Wake up to a better Boracay. Welcome back.
Hospital chemical storage, classroom interior design, school furniture, storage units, fume cupboards for schools or hospital system cabinets, you may please get in touch with Love Module via email at info@lovemodule.com or visit our website at www.lovemodule.com. Welcome back, and you are still watching with us live here in the Filipinos World. We're just trying to put on board Paul because he got lost. All right, anyways. According to Tracy Bond, it can be proven that wounded people wound others. Let's see if this is true. Walk circumspectly among wounded people. Their injuries are deeply submerged in their brains, and without the time-tested practice or of emotional intelligence, you might find yourself scarred by association. Give your associations time to reveal emotional intelligence or lack thereof. Employers measure their associates annually, quarterly, or seasonally. But have we asked ourselves, why haven't I evaluated myself? So kailangan talaga natin i-evaluate ang ating sarili, di ba, Pia?
This afternoon, what kind of woundedness they have experienced, and how do they heal themselves? Let us start from our first guest. She is a world-renowned visual and fashion designer, the country's premier rap artist, and has done a metamorphosis of her life being an artist and designer. Mga ka-TFWs, please join me in welcoming the one and only Miss Ditta Sandico, live from Manila, Philippines. Good afternoon, Miss Ditta. Welcome to the Filipinos World.
Hello and good afternoon, Pia and Agnes, also Aisha. Hello, Julie. Thank you so much for inviting me to your show. I am so honored to be here.
Well, the pleasure is ours, and we too are honored to have you on board, Miss Ditta, and thank you so much for saying yes. Okay, for this afternoon, we would like to know muna who is Ditta Sandico ba? So that our viewers may know deeply sino pa talaga si Ditta Sandico.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you guys for the really wonderful introduction. But most and above that, I am also a mother to two wonderful kids, a boy and a girl, ages 35 and 33. And they are now very good adults, both married. And I'm now taking care of my parents here at home. My parents are ages 90 and 95. And somehow we are cruising along this pandemic, getting through this COVID quarantine times and trying to stay afloat in everything that we do. So that's where I am right now.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Miss Ditta. Parang ano siya ha, it's very, your relationship within your family speaks of not just your, your passion, which is the fashion, of course, and your art. All right. Isa ka sa tinaguri ang one-of-a-kind designer because you combine art and fashion in one, and that made you a distinct artist in our country. All right, because you put your creativity vis-a-vis vision to realize the medium that you desire. Is this something you were adapt to since you were a kid, or how do you pour in your passion for artwork and fashion?
Okay, I'd like to give you a brief background. No?
Yeah.
I mean, looking back at my growing years, let me start by the age of like 5, 6, 7, 8. I was already showing interest in art. In fact, I used to play with coloring books, Play-Doh, colored pencils, and my favorite coloring book. Mm-hmm. Around the ages of 13 to 18, I was trying to dabble with oil colors, oil paints, acrylic, and sometimes I would also do some paintings around the house.
All right.
But it's only when I reached the age of 18 and above did I find out that I was really meant and going through this love for the arts, because I chose it as my course in my college years. I took fine arts in UP, and from then on, I had this love affair with it. But since, of course, I had to listen to my parents, my mom always sort of dissuaded me from taking a course in the arts and painting. Mm-hmm. First of all, she would say, Nako, you will not earn money from it. She says, you'll be dead by then when when you get famous, and then they'll probably buy your paintings. So, but my dad naman, he would say, oh yeah, you go on, it's what you want, it's what you love. And he probably saw that, I got some talent there. So I just pursued that dream. And then after that, I kept on doing my art. I kept on painting, I kept on drawing figures, doing illustrations. And after that, I decided to get into the fashion industry because my mom was in the retail industry. She was running a store. It was called Manila COD Department Store way back then. So I was like trailing behind her. I would sit beside her and watch her buy clothes for the store. But at the same time, I said, Mom, I think I really want to get into design. So I pulled myself out. I left for New York and I said, okay, I'm just going for this. I'm just going to study hard and break a leg. And then when I get back to the Philippines, I do hope that I get a career. And so that's how it started. I got into the fashion industry. Well, not really by sheer luck. I worked hard at it. And then time went on. It just went through and here I am. But yeah, there's so many stories to that.
All right. Let us maybe dwell on this story. In the article of Tatler Philippines issued this May this year, it has been mentioned that you present series of pieces with mixed material that retell about your deep personal story of recovery, discovery, and rebuilding. That seems to be a bit of, unfathomable to understand that story behind the Ditta Sandico that we know of now. So what is it really when you mean that you are recovering from that woundedness and transform yourself into a healed person? Can you share a bit of story about this?
Well, okay. Let me start off by how I got back to my creating art, painting.
Yeah.
It was like a few months ago. It started around after Christmas that I realized that I wanted to get myself back into the arts of painting and working with my brushes and my canvases. So all throughout that journey, I said, okay, I'm gonna push forward. I'm gonna try to reinvent myself because this whole thing came about, the pandemic, and my clothes or my wraps were not selling as well in the market. So I told myself, let's get back to finding new things to do. But I also had a lot of spare time. There's many times that I was like, go crazy, thinking I've already, like, I do the garden, I do my, I started baking, I started cooking, I said all these things. I said, I think that's one thing I have to try and do again, is my art, get back to it. And that reinvention brought me to a lot of rediscovery. I found myself. I realized I was lost. That part of me was lost in that all times that, it was never there, but I wanted it. I knew I wanted to be an artist. So pushing myself forward, I said, okay, I'm going to do an exhibit. I'm going to start painting with my fabric. And I did. I got remnants of fabric from my stock room, pieced them together, and then did an exhibit. And voila, I said, wow. People pala will appreciate my paintings, because that was always my fear. I was always scared to launch something of my paintings because that was so personal. In fact, I never liked selling my work because I was scared. I was always scared. And when I got into that motion, wow, I could actually rebuild things that have fell. I mean, like, last year, I went, my weavers went through a harrowing calamity. The storm came to Catanduanes, where my weavers are, and it demolished a lot of things, like their homes, the weaving center. And, I realized if I raise funds because of my paintings, I could probably help them rebuild. So that was the story behind those words. And I said, okay, I'm good. And with a lot of help from friends, from people, from family, now I can really say, well, I am a true artist by heart.
Miss Dita, I'd like to pick that line when you mentioned that there was a point in your life that you got lost. You are already successful in your own right, doing the art and the fashion all together. But what is that a point in your life that you feel like, am I just feeling empty, or there's something that triggers behind that, being a lost as a soul or as a person? Can you tell us about this?
Okay, let's get to this. I mean, at one point in my life, I dealt with my my lowest points.
Yeah.
It was like very harrowing. It took out. It gave me a lot of pain because I had to face an annulment, and that was like, oh my God! It's almost like somebody dying on me. It really placed so much fears inside of me. I didn't know how to face life. I didn't know how to go on. And that feeling inside made me know that, I didn't know where to go. But I think the strength came from within because I had so much faith in God. And I felt like I was not alone. So that started this whole journey. And well, if I can go back to it, I can say, there were so many things that I had to experience. I had to do a lot of work, inner work. I had to be able to piece myself together. I had to work out, organizing my life, organizing my business, and my children. And of course, the most important was to have a stronger relationship to God.
So I think the bounce back are getting your feet back to where you want to put it at a place. The courage of that is because you have your faith with your supreme being, your connection with the divine source. Is that also something that leads you now as a woman of, who are encouraging other women to be empowered, where they lost for a time, where they failed for a time, and now should come back and stand on their feet? Is this part of your advocacy into fashion industry?
I would think so, because since time immemorial, I've been working with indigenous fabric, everything organic, everything earth friendly. And I always connected that with my lifestyle. So when I talk about giving praise to God, it's like, where is it? And I look within. And there's the lifestyle changes I had to do. And probably with that whole experience, I wouldn't have gone through it if maybe I was never ready, but I think it cushioned me. It gave me a little more strength to be able to overcome a lot of difficulties.
Well, thank you. That is a bit of, consoling. I can feel the emotions and I can feel the energy where you are coming from. What is the rewarding or the giving back to women who are so vulnerable with the current situation, hopeless with the movement of the world, and infinitely in doubt why there is so much control that revolves around the planet when choices were used to be free and without monetary equivalent? How would you kind of encourage this kind of situation we are facing at the moment?
Actually, when you think about how men are, controlling our lives, I mean, I wish I didn't have to deal with this, no?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think women at our age, the midlifing women have so much difficulties being able to balance life and life at home, life at work, and your inner self. That goes it goes crazy. It really it's almost like a hurricane just passes through you. But I would think that with this pain comes also a lot of gain in terms of inner well-being.
All right.
I realized that not only it gave me strength, but it made me more intuitive. It made me more creative, and it gave me so much power within. That, like I said, sometimes I would ask myself, how will I do that? How will I be able to even just paint simple things? I mean, like, when I started painting, I didn't know how to work with my fabrics. But then again, I guess I channel the heavenly beings out there, my friends who have gone away, and I asked them for help. And when I start working on my canvas, everything just happens simultaneously. And that I do not know. I cannot even fathom how it happens, but it does. And I think that's a blessing. That's a gift. That's what we have inside of us. We really have that light in us, and we have to bring it out because it's hidden. It's really just there inside of us. We don't want to show it because we have so much fears. We don't want to be able. We don't want people to bash us or to criticize us or to say you're not good enough. No, but when I unloaded my life, I had the freedom to say, I'm going to do what I want. And this is the love of my life. This is what I'm going to go for. And no one's going to say, oh, no, you can't do that. Oh, no, you're not good enough. Oh, no. No. Everything is like, the negativities. We go through that ourselves in our mind.
Yeah.
Exactly. Go through it. But coupled with somebody else telling you, it gets even worse, right?
Yeah.
So allow those things. And I said, when this thing happened, there's no one else to tell me but myself. And my God, He even gives me the strength to just go on. Whether it's a good one or a fail, you just have to keep going on. I think that's the belief. I mean, that's what I learned. That's what I learned through the process.
Yeah. Well, that's what, in the greater context, we always say this, that it's okay to fail because you cannot be successful without failures. And we cannot heal our wounds if we are not wounded or we are not being in that vulnerability of the situation.
You're right about that. You're right.
Right.
Very right.
Okay, with this bouncing back, or with the words of wisdom that you want to impart to a lot of people who are suffering at the moment in this pandemic, what you gonna tell them that who they can hang on to and what aspiration they still can choose to live a better life or to live a life, I would say.
Well, just one thing. I believe that happiness comes from within us.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's found in every present moment. By making amends with the past and looking forward to the brightest future ahead.
Yeah.
So that in turn makes us come full circle. Okay, we go through our deepest sorrows, but we also make up for it in the end and live through that. And we will soon find our happiness and our content in life.
Yeah. Well said. That was very, very inspiring, Miss Ditta. All right, Pia.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Ditta Sandico. That was so inspiring. I was smiling the whole time. So thank you so much for sharing yourself here in the Filipinos world. Please stay tuned with us. We will pause for a break. And when we come back, we have with us Ms. Juliang, a fashion guru, spiritual healer, a yogist, and a facilitator teacher on the art of living when we come back.
woke up to my own adventure book, having no idea what was up next. Each page was different. Every chapter, a new surprise. All I could do was go along for the ride. Trust my gut and let the story unfold. Because here, the best travel plan is to make no plans and just let life happen.
Welcome back, and you are still watching with us live here in the Filipinos world. For our radiantly glowing skin, use Sneaky Sparkling Skin. And for your cooling services, you may please get in touch with EnviroCool at their website, envirocool.ph. For your seafoods requirement, you may please, tuna or crabs, you may please get in touch with Ichibun Seafoods. Aisha?
So, so yeah, most of us are too preoccupied with a lot of things in our mind. We tend to be so busy thinking what needs to be done, what agenda to finish, how to deal with a lot of pressures, issues, and concerns around our plate, but we never really take a deep breath and pause to reflect on what's in and on us. This COVID-19 pandemic made a lot of people hold a breath, can't breathe, and a breathing. The question for us to ask is why breathing is important in the process of healing ourselves. So we have here with us our second guest. She is a fashion guru, owner of the Tina Boutique CEO, a yogist, a spiritual healer, and facilitator, teacher of the art of living meditation, based here in Cagayan de Oro City, Philippines. Please welcome Miss Julie, and good afternoon and welcome to Filipinos World.
Hi, Jule. I think your audio.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me here and giving a chance for me to share. So I don't need to call each one of you. Tapos na kanina. So, yeah.
Well, magandang hapon, maayong hapon, Jule, and you look so great. And I like the ambience where you are at the moment. I know you're having a recollection, but you still give your time for the Filipinos world. And thank you for that. All right, you must have heard Miss Ditta Sandico earlier on how she coped herself on being wounded to a healed person. Yourself is a fashion guru also and spiritual healer, and I've learned that you help individuals journey life for them to become aware of their inner self through breathing. Can you please share with us or to the viewers, to the Filipinos world, why breathing is so important?
Yeah, but first, you know, when you mentioned, you read a quote when we started saying that if a wounded person would go around, he would be throwing this woundedness, this garbage to other people. And here we are catching the garbage and then throwing it again to the other people. So I said, this is enough. I want to volunteer and I want to give them tools and teach them. Not all this, you know, pinpointing, blaming each other for all of these things that's happening. And then, of course, I heard Ditas say about, you know, this negativity in the mind and empowering the self. I totally believe in that. You see, this world is made up of opposites. And then we think that this wound, every one of us all have our own wounds, all in different forms. Yes. Since the time we came out to this world, we came out crying already. Mm-hmm. And the mother, I was talking to Paul a while ago before the program, he was saying that about this trait of being a woman. You know, we are carrying this baby inside our womb with all the pain But then when the child comes out, there is so much joy that only a mother would know. So see, there is duality, like pain and joy, sadness, happiness, healthy, sick. So who gives value to a hero in a movie? It's the villain, right?
Yes.
There would be no hero in the movie without the villain. So if we see this in life, that opposites are actually complementary, then we wouldn't question, why is this happening to me? And we, all this mind full of, as what Ditta was saying, guilt, anger, and all of this stuff, because we're wasting our life. Life is so short, and here you are, your mind is delving on all the negatives. But if you see it, that, well, if I see a negative thing in my life, and how can this add to me being a person? How can I be more powerful? How can I find strength in this situation? So instead of like our mind questioning why this happened, and then not only that, what is worse is we carry that over the years, even like 10 years, 20 years, it's there in the head. It just comes, it just arises in the head.
Mm-hmm. So are you saying, Jewel, that, these are all natural flows, and we have to let it flow or allow it to happen, because the duality, you cannot call it disparity, but that existence of duality always come in place.
Yes, definitely. There is life, there is death.
Yes.
Everything is changing. It's part of life. So what happens is we always want things to be the way we want them to be.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
But maybe for one, we try to control things which we cannot, because we are beyond the power.
It's part of life.
Yes. All right.
So it's a way how you perceive it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like, it's easily said than done. We have all these how-to books and all seminars, but then when the buttons are pushed, gone are all these things, isn't it? That's why I stumbled on this course, the art of breathing and meditation, and then how it changed my life. Really, like Ditta was saying a while ago about being in the present moment. The nature of the mind is to be in the past, future. And do you know, scientifically, there is 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts that would arise in the mind in one day.
Wow, I
so
didn't
you
know
could
that.
just imagine, if you're not grounded,
Yeah.
you would be tossed around with these thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. Jewel, I want to call in, put on board Paul. Paul, are you around? Because I know that you have so much of things to ask to Julie, and maybe put on board back here, Ditta, when we still have time.
Okay, so apologies for my absence, Ditta. I had a bit of a IT meltdown, so I had 60,002 things to worry about today. So Julie,
Worry with a smile, Paul. Worry with a smile.
So I got a question for you about. We talk about faith. We arrive at situations in our life where sometimes the biggest thing we can say is we must have faith. Do you believe this comes from like a life force? There's almost like a divine source of our energy. We may experience numerous illnesses, and it's our belief system that will get us through this. How do you think we're connected to this source for us to become, a whole human being?
That's exactly my the course that I'm teaching. What is the first thing that you did when you came into this world? You took a breath in, right? And when you leave this world, you will take a breath out. And between the in and the out is our life, our drama. So you said, how do I connect to this life force? You cannot give something that you don't have. It's a matter of really feeling it inside you, that the life force. It's all around us. If we just look around us, the sun rises at a certain time, moon comes out in the evening, you can feel it in our senses, around us, in our skin, in our smell, in our taste. It's all around us. And that should give us really faith that there is something higher than us, and it's also within us, working in us.
I mean, we often in the modern world distance ourselves from ourselves. You know, we get our head full of so many almost false gods. You know, we may be pursuing wealth, which doesn't lead to happiness. You know, what would you have to say about, you know, a spiritual journey that we can take for healing? You know, clearly it requires an awareness. How does one become awakened to self?
There are many tools, of course. I mean, there are many teachers who would teach you different methods and techniques. These are techniques, you know, but then there is, without the grace, technique cannot work. I believe in that. Because you said that your question was the faith that we have, right? Is that what your question was?
It's about an awareness for spiritual healing. You know, it's like getting at the core, the essence of our being, to understand spiritually we can heal ourselves. But, you know, if we're not aware, that's not going to happen.
We need to shut down our mind first for us to really get connected to our soul. You see that we have 7 levels of existence. Our body, the gross, the one that we can see, and the one that connects to something that we cannot see, which is the mind. The mind relies on all the senses, the things that we see, the things that we hear, the taste, the touch, the smell. The second level would be the intellect, our choices, which is more powerful than the mind. And the next, more powerful than the intellect, our choices, is actually governed by our memories. So memories of if we believe in past lives, in our memories of our childhood, all these things govern our choices. And more powerful than our memory is our ego. All these experiences that we have is labeled who we are. And then the next one would be the soul. So we all need to journey all through these layers for us to really get connected to that soul, to that one that will really heal you inside. So what we teach is the breathing. Do you know that breathing, when you feel sad, when you feel angry, you breathe in a different rhythm of breath. Heavy, dense, short breathing. But then when you're happy and you're joyful, you breathe in a different way. It is imperceptible. It is light. It is deep. So there is a connection between your breath and the result of how you want to feel. So there's no way for you to get healed if you are full of negative emotions. There is no way for us to heal if your mind is so full. It is finding what Ditta was saying a while ago, is finding your strength, finding who you really are.
So Julie, you teach breathing. You teach
yes,
breathing.
Yes, I do.
Can you give our audience, you know, some tips, please, on correct methods?
Yeah, so you see, we are, you know, when you look at a child, a newborn baby, look at the new child. When they breathe, the stomach is so prominent. And sometimes you can even hear like a slight snoring sound. And you can see that in animals too. But then during this, the in-breath and the out-breath, the drama of life, we try to protect ourselves with all these traumas or negativity or pains or heartache or woundedness. So what happens is we contract. Until we go on in life, we reverse the way we breathe. When we inhale, we contract, and then when we exhale, that's the time we release. We become, the lungs gets expanded. So it's the reverse. So we are only using 30% of the benefit of the breath. But actually, toxins, not only physical toxins, but toxins from thoughts and emotions can be taken out from the breath. But then we focus on, like we were talking a while ago, like exercise, which is good for sure. Food, okay, I want to stay healthy, so I'll take in more vegetables and supplements. How many days can you live without food? Several days. And then we sleep a lot thinking that we will be healthy, and that's good too. How many days can you live without sleep? But how many minutes, seconds without breath? So we miss out the most important thing. The giver of life, the life force, the prana that makes you alive is actually the breath. And working on the breath in different kinds of rhythm will give you different results. For example, you cannot sleep because the mind is so full. And then there is certain rhythm of breath that will make you go to sleep. If you want to balance your logical mind and your emotional mind, for example, you're having an argument with your partner and you're so emotional, there is a certain kind of breathing that balances, that takes you away from being too emotional and makes you more logical.
Well, you're certainly a very compelling life force yourself.
But you know what?
I want to hand. I think Aisha has a question for you, Julie.
It's same with Ditta's. Like when she's into her artwork, her heart is into it. And when I talk about this passion of mine, I get so...
You know what, Paul? If you are interested, you have to enroll or register at Julie's course on the art of breathing, because there is really a fantastic course that she will teach you, lead you on how to not how to breathe, but of course the art of breathing. You know, Julie, I want you might want to share this, because we have this discussed or share this offline when we were having a coffee in Starbucks. That you said you told us and you shared that to us that, you know, in with our life, what is very important is the present. We don't have to think about the future. We don't have even to recall about the past, but let the moments steal with what is the present, because after this we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So like Ditas was mentioning a while ago about being in the present moment, you know, as I was saying also, the mind, even as you're listening to me right now, you cannot help but the mind would go to the past or to the future. What will I do tomorrow? Or these are the people that I need to call. And then also the mind would be like, oh, yesterday she made me feel this way and all these things. But you are missing the present moment, the joy, which is right here, right now. And this moment right now creates the past, and it also creates the future. But what is it? It's like a kite. Your mind can go everywhere, any direction. And here you are, your body is here, but your mind is not here. So how is it for you to bring the mind to the moment? Is through the breath. So the string between the kite and yourself is the breath. So all you need to do is skillfully work on the breath, and then your mind will become in the moment. So joy, happiness is right here in the moment, isn't it? There's nothing that's happening right now except we are connecting, we are joyfully discussing, learning new things, listening to one another. So this is joy, this is happiness.
All right. Yeah, exactly true. Is Miss Ditta still there?
Yes.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, Dita, would you agree with what Julie just shared to us about, living in the moment or living in the present situation? And what's your take?
Yes, definitely. I agree to all that she said, because we seem to be streamlined in this lifestyle and life that we lead, especially that we can talk about fashion and life force and lifestyle, all these things about metaphoric stuff. I have been reading through this past so many years.
Okay, thank you. Paul, you want to ask something to both of our guests, beautiful guests, I would say. Gorgeous.
Well, once again, I'm a thorn between, four roses. So my current thinking is about movement. I'm a big believer in how moving our bodies takes us into a new realm as far as moving, let's say, from a depressive state into a more positive mind state. Okay, we talk about endorphins released from physical exercise, but I think the idea of, our bodies are designed to move. So I think part of wellness, part of our own healing should involve movement. And perhaps, Ditta and Julie can both, everyone, can talk about this a little bit. What's your suggestions for making that a daily part of our lives? Perhaps start with Julie.
Okay. Movement synchronized with your breath and synchronized with mindfulness is something that, because life is like a dance, and then when you dance smoothly, it goes with how you feel and how you think and how your body would respond to it. And I totally believe that the mind is all around us, not that the mind is inside us. So, that's my take to your question.
Okay, so Ditta, we talked about how physically, you take yourself into a different place. Ditta, I can't see you because I'm using my phone, but Ditta, what's your thoughts on the physical side of healing?
Well, in my case, I do a lot of movement in terms of yoga. I start with my day with a yoga practice, and also the meditation comes in. But at one time in my life, I also joined this movement class. It was free movement. And again, it was a real connection, a deeper connection from the soul to the body. I started to realize that your body speaks to you. And even when you're sick or when you're unhealthy, you can actually you can actually heal yourself because your body speaks to you. The problem is we don't listen. We don't connect with it. And somehow everything goes crazy. And just like this, even when this whole pandemic came in, I was told, oh, you're not supposed to, you have to drink all these medicines, vitamins and everything. But what I did was I just went through it the natural way. I took all the juices, the natural vegetable juices made out of malunggay. Maybe you don't know about that, but it's a very potent vegetable. I take turmeric, garlic, ginger, and all these herbal remedies. And somehow it helped me and it prevented me from getting sick. Knock on wood, I haven't gotten the COVID. So again, it's a whole holistic life. It's a whole, the whole, from head to foot, from the earth to the heavens. I think that's the whole thing that we have to be able to feel and, realize what it's telling us. We have to be able to communicate with nature, with the abundance of life. And I think that's what makes us powerful and strong and healthy.
That's a very, very, very complete answer. AISHA, you're in a part of the world where you've got physical sports, the All Blacks, maybe you can talk about, the physical side of wellness from your perspective.
Yes. Unfortunately, though, I'm not a big fan of rugby because I think it's a very painful sport. So, for us here in New Zealand, we value wellness a lot. So, we have a lot of sick days off. Our maternity leave, it goes from 6 months to a year. It's, yeah, we really value wellness a lot. And for New Zealand schools, it's not the same as in the Philippines, where we focus a lot on education, academics, awards during graduation. Here in New Zealand, there's a lot of sports involved, so a lot of movement. So from kids from the youngest age until around high school, they enter, their parents actually push them to enter sports. So that's the New Zealand lifestyle. I mean, I don't know how it is there in your country, but here it's really part of their culture.
All right.
Zealanders, Kiwis, yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Aisha. And because we don't have time, we will pause for a break.
Maraming mga business na nagsara, maraming mga taong nawalan ng trabaho.
Welcome back, and you're still watching with us live here in the Filipinos World. Thank you so much to all our friends watching from across the nation, the country, of course. And I cannot mention your names at the moment, but thank you so much, really. Pia?
Okay, so for suggestions, comments, feedback, please get in touch via our email address, thefilippinosworld@gmail.com. You may also follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and YouTube channel, The Filipinos World. If you want to become one of our sponsors, please send us your intent via email, thefilipinosworld@gmail.com. If you want your story to be featured in the Filipinos World and you believe you are one Filipino who inspire other Filipinos, please let us know and write us via email, thefilipinosworld@gmail.com.
Aisha?
Yes, so I have a question for Miss Julie. So, hi, Miss Julie. Hi.
I think we just have to ask that offline. I think we are in the finale.
All right.
Sorry about that.
So, yes.
All right, so I'll read it for you. We wish to thank all our guests today, Miss Ditta Sandico and Miss Julie Ang, for gracing here in the Filipinos World. Next week will be another episode as we will discuss on Do Men Have Rights with our guest, Mr. Leo Martinez, the one and only. He is an icon in the sector of the comedy in our industry. All right, and one more guest hopefully soon. So please stay tuned with us. Pia?
The Filipinos World would like to thank Mr. Paul Marcavicius, Technical Team Engineer Jong Sandico, and Engineer Ernie Banson, Station Manager Ms. Jean Terojijos, Social Media Team Mount Mom Kaagapay, ako ng OFWKS, A. Nazbar Mariwa Berganyo, and to all supporters and viewers of the Filipinos World.
So for this we say, we bring Filipinos closer to the world. We bring the world closer to the Filipinos and Filipinos closer to each other.
This is Bianca TFW Agnes, along with Miss Pia Andanar, the TFW Ambassador, and Miss Western Pacific Philippines, and Miss AISHA Ronquillo, the photographer, journalist based in Auckland, New Zealand, and of course, Mr. Paul Markovich, the executive producer of the Filipinos World. Thanking everyone for viewing or watching the Filipinos World. We wish to thank Julie. Thank you so much for your time. And Dita, thank you, really. Pleasure to have you on board here in the Filipinos World. Stay safe, everyone. Goodbye. Thank you.